Alrighty, welcome back everyone. It is LaughNgamez here. I'm back with another Starcraft 2 1 versus 1 bot AI cast. We have got ourselves what should be a good one here today, as I really enjoyed the previous match. It is going to be Zoe taking on MicroMachine, as I really enjoyed the previous match that I cast. It was MicroMachine against Evil Zoe. So this time taking on the nice variant of this Zerg bot. However, in my experience, they play pretty similar overall, but then of course Evil Zoe I think is a little bit cheesier. MicroMachine starting this game off saying I've won 78% of our encounters, so it is the heavy favorite. However, it was also the favorite in the previous match. I think it was like almost 60%, and it did end up falling there, so we'll see how it does against Zoe in this game. We do have ourselves a respectful macro opening from the Zerg, whereas MicroMachine is going for a Proxy Rax to start it off. Probably a Reaper, the unit that MicroMachine controls so well. And yeah, ladies and gentlemen, if you enjoy these casts, make sure to go ahead and click that like button if you haven't already. Leave a comment down below saying more bots if you want to see more of these bot games. And then subscribe. If you aren't already subscribed, you can click that bell icon to get notified whenever I put up a new video. I try my best to do daily videos, but I will not promise that. However, I've been doing this pretty regularly now for a few years, so. We do have Zoe going for a fast third hatchery against this proxy, and MicroMachine is just doubling down, doing a proxy that is basically unheard of against Zerg. It's a proxy factory with this Reaper tech lab going on that rack, so we'll see whether that's for the factory or for the racks itself. The Reaper comes on in and starts harassing until these few Zerglings do pop on out. Drone takes a shot, runs away from its job mining gas, but then another one takes its place. So Zoe keeping that economy going until a couple lings come in to be heroes. Now that factory is just finished up, and it's going to go right on that tech lab, and SCV kind of missed the memo, delaying it for a second a bit. It's like that will be, is it going to be a siege tank or what? I'm honestly not sure, as we do have this Reaper still microing against this Ling. The Lings are doing their job and buying time, and it's actually a single Cyclone. So a Cyclone Reaper opening from MicroMachine, getting really aggressive here. Now, that's not too bad, as it did delay the gas mining for Zoe, so that means the speed's delayed a little bit, I think. And it means we're going to be about 60 seconds out from speed. This is going to give MicroMachine the opportunity to potentially get some damage done, as these Lings can just be kited for days, and drones getting pulled into the fray, but Queen's taking their time to respond to this as well. So far, it's a good opening for MicroMachine, and this Queen, she's really having a hard time getting confused. Lots of drones are not mining presently, as Zoe's drone saving behavior goes into overdrive these Queens. I'm not sure what's pulling them. I think it's got, I guess, well, now it's the presence of this Cyclone, but it's could also be just the urge to inject or spread creep or something messing with them here. This is why delay on bots decisions is important, I think. Now these Reapers are still denying mining time. Mining is taking place at the natural, a teeny tiny bit at the third, but the main has had a lot of mining being denied. Finally, the Queens break free from whatever mystic hold was on them, so those Reapers will be pushed away. These drones can get back to mining. Now, only a few drones have died so far, but MicroMachine does have its own command center going up on its side of the map. It's got some good harassment done, and whether it's enough remains to be seen, but so far it's still going on, as Ling speed is done, but there is no Lings out to actually get these Reapers just yet. There's a single Ling out on the map. I believe it might have been on the other side, scouting out. A couple more Lings do pop out, so they can chase down these Reapers. All in all, that was some really great harassment from MicroMachine, though. That opening seemed to work. The single Cyclone did go down at some point, but yeah, I think MicroMachine's build is pretty sweet. Not often you see something like that go on with Zerg or against Zerg, but that worked out really well. This factory is still on the other side of the map. MicroMachine's getting up a Banshee and cloak. That's going to be the next phase of the harassment. There is already spores done though, so that's going to be helpful for Zoe, as the drone count is just going to start going on up for that Zerg. Now it's free to macro, but the lost mining time was really big damage by MicroMachine. At the same time, its own natural was pretty darn delayed, so it's kind of tough to say. However, with that third command center on the way, MicroMachine is more like MacroMachine today. Queens shoot that Rax, however it takes years for Queens to kill a Rax. It's like a Cyclone being a nuisance still. Evil Zoe has, or pardon me, just regular Zoe has a few Lings on out. Many more Lings are now on the way. This will help to chase down this Cyclone, help shut down the harassment. The Queens are kind of out of position when it comes to intercepting this Banshee, actually. That's problematic. There is a lair, so there can be a Spore Crawler, or an Overseer, pardon me. But not just yet, as this Banshee will kill that Queen. A Siege Tank, 2 Siege Tanks, pardon me, actually now setting up, shelling away at the 4th base of the Zerg. And with the Cyclone, I'm not sure that Zoe will be able to save this, so we're actually seeing a big attempt at a counterattack. And it's not an attempt, it's a success, as these Lings will get in here. There's very little to respond to this as MicroMachine. However, Zoe pulls those Lings away from the potential mass damage it could have got to what I think would have been to try and defend against these tanks, but the Banshees are really throwing a wrench into things. Zoe does have another base on the way, but MicroMachine is now up to 4 bases itself. And so things are looking really darn good for the Terran bot. We're seeing it just have wins after a couple of frustrating moves by Zoe. Just not dealing with that Banshee, and then canceling the counterattack was a big blow to it, because I think it could have killed a lot of workers potentially. Queens and Roaches are dodging to avoid this Banshee. Lings are coming on in once more for Zoe. MicroMachine doesn't have that many units out on the map. The Banshees really are the main muscle. Presently, Lings are running on in, but the thing is, yeah, Zoe elects to retreat the Lings at times, when I think it would be better just to commit. These Lings are still running around, finding the odd SCV here and there. MicroMachine, though, still has a nice economic lead. We are seeing some Lings and Roaches find the factory, so that's at least some dead production. We've got more Queens on the way, although the Queen count's quite low, and that's going to be problematic as battle cruisers are now being produced. The factory will be killed off here, as the Rax was already killed off. Or no, the Rax is still floating there, pardon me. So MicroMachine can build more factories if it wishes. It does have an extra factory, so it can build more starports. We are seeing some Ling harassment go down once again, so Zoe is getting some worker kills, killing 15 SCVs already at the cost of 75 dead Lings so far this game. Now, MicroMachine is getting up a 5th base on location. That's the scary thing about it, though. It just expands so darn fast. Battlecruiser count is growing, and we've got a macro game going on right now, but there has been a lot of damage done, and I think Zoe's received more of it. Hydras are starting to be produced, but they do struggle with siege tanks. However, it is just 1 tank on the way for now. Killing off that other factory on the other side of the map helped out, no doubt. The Hydras being produced are very important to help deal with these battle cruisers that are lacking any upgrades as well. No armory upgrades, no Yamato cannon just yet, so that will make the Hydras okay against these BCs, particularly as we do get the evolved spines on the way, and Evo Chamber finishing up 2. If we get +1 attack going, that would be nice. And that finishes up, so it's Carapace for now, but we'll see if there's another Evo on the way soon. Zoe is still down on supply. It's getting up more and more hatcheries, but MicroMachine's getting up more and more bases. Hydras find the battle cruiser, however, the Banshee is putting out a lot of damage, and the Hydras are targeting the battle cruiser as priority, so the Banshee gets some really good work done there. Lings are still running all over the place. Hydras are being produced en masse by Zoe. It is down on supply, though, so the Zergbot's having a bit of a tough time right now, and it's not doing anything horrible. Just MicroMachine seems to have Zoe's number for now. Anyway, Zoe is reaching that Zerg point in which it's going to be able to make a lot of units with more and more hatcheries going up. Off the back of 72 drones, that's no small amount. MicroMachine is entering that mass battle cruiser phase, though. And that's really problematic, as BCs are just so darn good with the teleport feature. They rarely die. Hydras have got to deal with these Banshees, but it seems the Banshees get more damage done than you'd think they should, just because they're so darn good at avoiding the fire for the most part. Battle cruisers are moving across the map still. We've got a random tank towards the north here that will be caught by Zerglings and potentially killed. Lings are still running all over the place. Gonna find a building base, potentially. That would be a nice move by Zoe. This rack still lives. It is not quite on fire just yet. One or two more shots and it will be. Lings potentially are gonna shut down this base towards the top right. As I say that, though, in comes some hero Hellions. They do not have blue flame, though, so they're not as good as they could be. The battle cruiser count continues to grow. Presently 5, soon to be 8. For MicroMachine. Zoe's still just making lots of Hydras. No Spire on the way just yet. The +1 is on the way, and so is Carapace too. But the BCs do have +1 attack, so the upgrades are a bit of a mixed bag. We are seeing some of the Zerg force caught out on the map. That's not good. Zoe needs to play defensive, I think, to deal with these BCs. Let them overcommit if they will. And the lack of upgrades, I think, is going to make the BCs a little worse than they should be. But then the tanks, on the other hand, just absolutely Shrek Hydras, and that count is growing drastically. 4, with 3 at a time being produced. Infestors will be on the way soon enough for Zoe, though. Fungal or Neural Parasite can be very good against battle cruisers. Hydra's still skirmishing with these BCs, trying to push them away. Doing an okay job. We've seen 14 Hydras go down so far. Not a single BC dying, but that's not like a terrible amount of dead Hydras. And Zoe is just about max, so it's getting ready for an attack. In our previous match, MicroMachine had a hard time breaking the 200 supply mark, but in this case, both bots are maxed out, so that's really going to change how things work out. And oh boy, BCs are catching Hydras. Hydras turn to fight. I mean, they're doing as much damage as they can, but they do not have that +1 attack finished yet, so that's really nerfing them. We've got lots more Lings on the way for Zoe, but I'm not sure that's what it needs, as there is mass BCs coming in here. Only 9 Hydras to respond to this. There is a Infestor on the way, but Zoe, yeah, is making Lings when it definitely needs Hydras, so we're actually seeing Zoe thinking of going for another attack, but there we see it cancels the attack once again. It really does retreat a lot, potentially more than it should do. We are seeing Hydras engage some of these BCs. The +1 attack is really helping them out, but bad attack angles mean a lot of them are being chewed up. More Hydras are being produced. 96 drones is a serious amount of drones to keep making more Hydras, which is important for Zoe as it keeps losing Hydras. Lings are out on the map. Lings can do okay against siege tanks, not so much against battle cruisers, and then the control on them is a completely different aspect. MicroMachine does not go for planetaries at its bases. This does mean the Ling harassment of Zoe can have some success here, pulling some of the army of MicroMachine back. MicroMachine saying, what, air units? I think that may have been triggered potentially by a battle cruiser that got neural parasited, but don't quote me on that, as there really isn't any air units yet for Zoe otherwise, so that's a little funny if that's the case. Another battle cruiser very injured. Hydras want the blood. They may get this BC. Well, that could be the first of many potentially picked off in this game. And yes, it is. Zoe is maxed out once again. So is MicroMachine. Upgrade-wise, things are still looking okay for Zoe, as it will have +2 attack against the 1/1 of the BCs. Infestor count is growing. I think the main problem shall be the siege tanks here. If MicroMachine gets on the throat, neural parasites going down on some of the BCs, Yamato cannoning a friendly battle cruiser. Orbital command in the top right being harassed a little bit. Hellions and siege tanks are being pulled away, but yeah, look at this tank count. Currently 8. That is no joke against mass Hydras. Yeah. And Zoe does not make Vipers either. So that's going to be a little concerning. If these Hydras can get on top of these tanks before they're all sieged up, that would be big. However, I think we're going to see a bit of a poor fight for Zoe as it does move forward in the worst possible way into the tank fire, into the BCs that are protecting the tank. So Zoe has a really tough engagement, and MicroMachine is just taking some really efficient fights. Zoe's getting some Ling run-bys, once again killing off more and more SCVs. 70 have died this game, so the Ling harassment is good. But then we see MicroMachine come on in with those steamrolling battle cruisers, deleting one of the Zerg bases. And Zoe can recover from that, as long as it doesn't take too much more damage. Hydras are fighting the BCs once more. 2-2 upgrades are done. There is an infestor here. Will we see a good neural parasite? No, it completely misses, as that battlecruiser had already teleported away. Another battlecruiser does get neural parasited. Looks like some of them are teleporting on out, though. This one should have its teleport used by the infestor to stop it getting away. Where it teleported to, I do not know. This game is really heating on up, though. Attempted Ling run-bys, trying to buy Zoe some time. This base is being reestablished. The cost efficiency is a problem for the Zerg, though. Another battlecruiser just teleports on out. That's the problem with Terrans that build BCs. Zerg has such a hard time killing them. You really need to be decisive, which is not an easy thing for bots to do necessarily. Zoe not targeting down battlecruisers that are neural parasited either means they get away more often than they should. It's like a siege tank getting popped by the Hydras is nice for Zoe. It's taking an okay fight here. Battlecruiser does get killed before it teleports out, I believe. We have seen a few of those perish now. Hold on, units lost. Yeah, two BCs have died. We gotta pump those numbers up if you're gonna stay alive, Zoe. Another Yamato cannon going down. That battlecruiser will then just teleport on out. The Viking count is growing too. I'm not sure why that is, because it's not like there's corruptors to deal with these BCs, but MicroMachine is building a real nasty composition. Hydras just don't cut it en masse against BCs. There was a nice kill, and the Hydras will deal more damage as +3 is done, but that's only because they have an upgrade lead, and that's not going to last forever. And Zoe is also having a hard time maintaining a decent supply with 166 supply in the to 200. A MicroMachine Yamato cannon still going down all over the place, killing off expensive units. Another battlecruiser escaped. If +3 was done, maybe that one wouldn't have escaped. Zoe's having a hard time, though. The money is good for Zoe. And if these Hydras can fight just the BCs with the tanks out of position, that would be really good. And there is only 4 siege tanks out now, so their numbers have been reduced. The Hydras have 3-3, but here we see Hydras divided, potentially going to be conquered. I mean, that wasn't too bad for Zoe. It's still got a ways to go if it wants to win this game, though. Okay, Neural Parasite goes down on a battlecruiser. Yamato cannon turning it hostile. Scan kills that infestor, though. We're seeing some teleports go down, as well as the injured BC just teleports away. Zoe trying to split its army to deal with this. Hydra's chasing that BC. There's a threat on both sides. That's an important base going down that belongs to the Red Zerg, so it may have a difficult time remaxing after this point. Battlecruisers are really moving forward en masse. The Hydras have 3-3. They've got a significant upgrade lead, but it's only 30 to 12 BCs. They're cornered. The battlecruisers are coming on in. The Hydras are doing what they can. There is infestors, but they're kind of slacking. I mean, Zoe may hold on here, as some of those BCs are being forced to teleport away, are being killed. But now if we look at the supply, and the fact that the Vikings have killed like all of Zoe's overlords too, it was down to 128 supply for a time. And yeah, based off the past 2 games that I've cast, we see why it's important to get damage done to MicroMachine early on and to kill it before it hits that 200 supply. Otherwise, the cost efficiency is particularly brutal. As far as, it's not easy to say what would change things around for Zoe. I would be curious if the bot would do better if the neural behavior was changed to, say, set up a spore killing field like Cannon does, or just to teleport those BCs right away or something. I do not know. I do feel there was some missed opportunity there, though. Not targeting the neural BCs is problematic as well. Some bots do that to ensure the kill. And yeah, Zoe's holding on, but not for long. It's down on bases. Its cost efficiency is 16k to 46k. That is not good. And the BC count is only growing as time goes on. Hydra's trying to do what they can, but yeah. This is why you at least need Vipers. Or just even, honestly, hitting 200 supply. Like, Zoe got to 200 supply once or twice, but then it just took a bad fight. And then, at some point, the Lings are also not efficient either. We've seen 400 Lings go down. The SCV kills aren't necessarily worth all that supply dump. So yeah, MicroMachine showing us how darn good it is. Maybe I'll do an Evil Zoe rematch against MicroMachine, see if that's any different. But for now, Evil Zoe does seem to do better than regular Zoe. Maybe regular Zoe is less committal with its harassment too, but I'm not 100% sure on that either. I think there are moments in this game that just sacking the Lings would have done better than trying to run them away, because I mean, it's very difficult to program a bot that keeps the units alive more efficiently than just committing them to the harassment. We're in a heck of a fast forward right now as MicroMachine cruises up in the APM. And yeah, Zoe just waits for death as the Lings cannot cut it here. My PC is really melting right now. We are watching a stutter show. MicroMachine taking all the bases. That's just how much of an expansion monster it is. Meanwhile, Zoe's like, I need more Lings. This would solve my problems. When in doubt, make more Zerglings. This is taking a seriously long time to clean this all up, though. MicroMachine takes the base. I guess there's gas there for it. Tries to land a command center on its already building command center. And it will eventually get the W here. GG.